Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today I want to talk about my outreaching funnel that helps me land over 10 brand deals in a month. And if you're a content creator or social media influencer, this could be the best video for you. And so I'm going to share my secrets, share my funnel that helps me, and it's super simple. And let's go right into it. In this first funnel, we have the content niche. This really depends on what kind of niche you have, whether that's lifestyle, fitness, food, blogging, whatever it might be. I want you to put that down as a niche before you move on. I'm sure some of you guys have very clear niches and some of you guys don't, and that's okay. I want you guys to still try to focus down and narrow down into one niche that you guys might have or is making content for. And once you're done, let's move on to the next one. We have two ways of doing this, and I run an influencer marketing agency called True Comma. I help over hundreds and hundreds of content creators get brand deals, and I have to niche down their content for them. So when I look at their content, I'm looking at what I'm looking for and what kind of content they're posting and what video performs the best. So I do that for every single one of my creators, and that leads me into market research. And market research is pretty much looking at brands and finding out which brands are doing influencer marketing, which brands are sponsoring other creators that are similar to yourself. And I want you to do the own market research for yourself and find out which brands you want to work with. Number two, find out which brands are already doing influencer marketing. And number three, try to see if they have any relationships with any of your network. And if you're a content creator or social media creator, you might have some networks that are similar in your field or industry. I want you to ask them and see if they have worked with this particular brand, because they might have the direct contact to them, and that's going to be very important. The second part that it can lead to is going into previous brand collaborations, and I emphasize this very hard into all my creators that I work with. Your previous brand collaborations are going to be one of your biggest money makers because you already worked with them before. And what better is it than to showcase that you've worked with them before and showed good results? I want you to look at all the previous brand collaborations you have done and try to figure out whether or not they're still doing influencer marketing. That's part of market research, and that's why I put them parallel to each other. And that all leads me into scraping the lead, emails, Instagram, and accounts. And this pretty much means finding out which company worker works in a specific department under the titles of brand partnerships manager, influencer marketing manager, content creation manager, whatever that might look like, or social media manager. I want you to figure out which brands or which company people work at that certain company. The reason why this is important is because we're going to be later sending out emails to them, and that's going to be a whole different story. But finding out and scraping the leads are going to be very important. What I personally like to do is I like to put it into an Excel sheet, and I like to gather around 50 to 100. And I know that sounds a lot, but guys, I'm telling you, this is a volume game, especially if you're a content creator. You don't need to do as much as 50 to 100, but somewhere around that ballpark. You can't expect only 4 people and expect to get a response, because that's just not going to happen. You need to put out a lot of the work in order for you to get yourself a brand deal. Again, get an Excel sheet, put down 50 brand representatives that work in that certain area. If you don't know how to get brand representatives' email, I have other videos that lead to that. Check out the other videos that I already have posted. And secondly, we're going to go into the email delivery. So the email delivery part is very nuanced, and there's a lot of different ways to send an email. But primarily, I would say stick to personalizing each email to each creator, to each brand representative, and showcasing why you should work with them in the first place. That could be showcasing that you've worked with previous brands before or similar brands before. Anything would be considered showing value or creating value for them. When you're sending an email delivery, make sure you are considering that in mind. If you want a more in-depth video of it, I have it on my other channel, and you can just go check it out. Thirdly, it's going to be the follow-up. And I want you to think about this follow-up. Most of my deals are done in the follow-up emails. Not everyone that works in the company are going to reply to you right away. You just got to keep reminding them that you exist and that you planted a seed and you're still interested. Because the number one thing is you just want to show that you're interested rather than having to send one email out and expect a deal to come from that. That's just not going to happen. Follow up, I would say 2 to 3 days after you send your first email. And please refrain from sending it on the weekends. They usually do not want to reply to anybody, especially even brands on Instagram as well. If you're gonna DM them, don't do it over the weekend. It's just not gonna have good delivery or response rate. And then we go into follow up the third. Okay, so I want you to follow up again. Pretty much when you follow up, you want to showcase some value. So you want to say why you want to work with them. Again, show previous brand collaborations, even share your rate at this point. You just want to get a reply. So the biggest thing is you want to get a reply and you want to showcase your interest in working with them as a partner, not really as a contractor. Don't put that into your mindset. Think of yourself as a partner to them, and that's going to help you a lot with the mindset. And within all this, you can get a response from email delivery, follow-up 2 or follow-up 3. If it's a yes, then you succeeded. But this is going to be the best part. Deliverables and negotiations, and that's a whole nother video. That's way too complicated to put into this video. But for success, if you get a response, that is a success. That is the biggest thing that you want from this funnel. If you don't get a response, what I personally like to do is I create an Excel sheet of email lists that did not respond or DMs that did not respond, and I try to retarget them a couple months later or a month or 2 later, because you get to. And so this is the funnel that I've used for my own influencer marketing agency. I think it's super simple and super effective, and that's what I love about this specific funnel. I have a free community and course on Skool in the description below. Make sure you guys follow that to get more content. There's so much more value in there, and all I ask is that you join it and you stay active on it, and that's all I want from you guys. Thank you guys so much for this video. Comment, and if you have any questions, feel free to join the Skool community. I'll see you guys there. Bye.